Hello and welcome to your Empowered Astrology Forecast with yours truly, the Cosmic Finder, Sarah McCallum. And I am reporting on the week of January the 9th, 2023. So this week, we are going to be experiencing a waning moon phase. We all celebrated the full moon in Cancer last Friday, January the 6th. And since then, the moon has started out on its waning phase. So the moon is going to move through its phases, waning until it gets to the new moon. And then once we celebrate the new moon, then the moon will begin to wax again. So the waning moon phase, as I have described before, is definitely a time to rest. It's a time to reflect. And it really parallels this period of Mercury in retrograde that we are all experiencing right now. So both of those energies are encouraging us to look inside of ourselves, to take things one step at a time, and not to act on anything impulsively. I also want to discuss Mars, which has been retrograde in Gemini for quite some time now, moving direct this week. So Mars will move direct on January the 12th. However, Mars retrograde period was quite lengthy, different than Mercury's, which is typically around 3 weeks to a month, whereas Mars retrograde period is sometimes 3 to 4 months long. And I want to touch on both the pre-retrograde shadow period as well as the post-retrograde shadow period, and the importance of understanding that it's not just about Mars being retrograde, but it's about focusing on both the pre and the post shadow periods. So post retrograde shadow, we will be in that period until about March 15th. So it's not over on the 12th. It's just that Mars will begin to move direct. And then we will probably still feel some of the similar sensations that we felt. And we may be tested by the universe in similar ways. We may be going through some of the similar lessons that we experienced while Mars was retrograde in Gemini during this past winter. So excitement, of course, that the planet is finally moving direct, but just be mindful of the fact that it is in a post-retrograde shadow until March 15th. So all of that being said, I would encourage you all to really lean into this waning moon phase as a time for restorative activities. Allow yourself the gift of taking things slowly. All right, I also want to talk about, let's see here, the two aspects, the two transits rather, that are going to happen this week involving Chiron. So first, we're going to have Mercury, the planet that governs our ability to bring our thoughts into form. It governs the written word. It governs how we communicate. That planet is going to be in a square relationship with Chiron. So there could be some potential for healing around the written word. Perhaps you could tap into some channeled writing, some journaling, and perhaps you could write a letter to someone that you've been wanting to communicate with, but you felt maybe some tension. You could also write a letter and you don't necessarily have to share it. Just the writing in and of itself can be very cathartic and healing. And then the moon will be in an opposition to Chiron this week. So Mercury is going to be creating a square with Chiron on the 11th. The moon is going to be in an opposition to Chiron on the 13th. And we might just feel incredibly sensitive. There may be, potential for insecurities surfacing. We may just feel a little bit uncertain on how to tap into some of those deep-rooted traumas, those deep-rooted triggers. And if you are feeling emotional, if you are feeling sensitive, especially after coming off of such an emotional full moon and being in a waning moon phase, again, give yourself the gift of space, give yourself the gift of a good cry, give yourself the gift of a warm bath, and try to love on yourself and understand that it's the energy of the current astrology. And then I also want to talk about the signs the moon will move through during this week. So the moon will move from Leo into Virgo, into Libra, and then into Scorpio over the course of this week. While the moon is in Leo, I highly suggest perhaps tapping into some inner child work. Again, maybe writing a letter to, yourself as a child, and just witnessing what comes up for you around that process. When the moon is in both Virgo as well as Libra, I would suggest maybe tapping into some of the great work practices. Maybe you could be focusing on how to improve your business, tapping into some back office items, tapping into, with Virgo specifically, like ways in which to better structure your finances or organize your work life. And with Libra, creating more balance and harmony in your spaces, perhaps specifically in your office, and even collaborating with a good friend around like a business idea or a business venture. And then when the moon moves into Scorpio, just tap into your emotional body and really like open up to listening to your emotional body and see what it is that it needs from you. Perhaps it's rest, perhaps it's, exercise, perhaps it is music or dance, but try to be more receptive to your emotional body and really hearing what it is that your emotions are trying to communicate to you. I wish you all a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. Take it slow. Take it steady. And I will be on again soon to talk with you all about the astrology for the following week.
Bye.